I am most excited when the eclipses are coming. Though for many of us, it's frightening. Because when we talk about the eclipses, the solar or the lunar eclipses, the first impression that we get is, oh, there's going to be a hullabaloo around, there's going to be a lot of chaos around, things are going to be changing, there are going to be, the situations change, the rules and regulations of the organizations change. So the eclipses are around our corner on the 1st of September as well as on the 16th of September. So we need to understand solar eclipse means how your outer world changes, and the lunar eclipse means how the internal world, your inner world changes. Solar is completely the kind of an eclipse where you see that things which you're in your comfort zone, it is shaking you out from your comfort zone. Whereas lunar eclipse, it is shaking you out from your emotional comfort zone, and you need to change your ideas. Now these eclipses are separate for every individual. How they affect every individual is separate, and that is where gender comes into play. So the solar and the lunar eclipse affects men in a different manner and females in a different manner. The way men perceive the world, or the way the men perceive their working sphere, or the way the perceptions of men is entirely different than the perception of the women. So now when the solar eclipse is imminent, just a couple of days before, a week before, or a week after the solar eclipse also, and in between, of course, what will you feel? How are men going to feel? They're going to start reacting like a rebel, because things around them are changing. Men like to be in control of themselves. They like to be in control of the situation. They do not like things going haphazard, or things being changing around them without informing them. But solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, they don't inform people. They just happen. It's a natural phenomena. And in our daily grind of life, we tend to forget that these natural phenomena are actually a wake-up call. So the way men take it, they feel threatened. They feel threatened because things are happening without their knowledge. And they cannot pinpoint a finger. You know how the man's brains work? They're single dimensional. They can only do one thing at one time. So when the solar eclipse is coming into being, it's actually shaking the world around them. They suddenly realize that things at home are not going okay. Things at the workplace are changing. People are changing. What they took for granted is actually not happening. This makes them restless inside. And you will by and large see a man snapping very fast. Or by and large he'll be giving you a look which says, hey, I didn't know about it. Because the man's brains are made just with one box. He can do one thing at one time. He cannot handle people changing around him. He cannot handle the situations where he's working are changing. He cannot handle if things are done without his prior knowledge, or from a lady's point of view, I would say without his prior permission, whether they should be changed or not. So a man is bound to react in a very different way when things around him are changing externally. And when solar eclipse comes, nobody can escape. Nobody can escape what is happening, because solar eclipse does bring in changes externally in and around you, whether it's a profession, whether it is your home affairs, Now, how can they actually handle this situation? Once they are warned that the solar eclipse is happening, they can't remain calm, they can control their anger. Men, by and large, during the solar eclipse, can also tend to become manipulative. Because see, they're running after a thing. They don't want things to happen without their knowledge. So they become defiant. Offense is the best form of defense. So they start becoming offensive. because they are defending themselves. They're trying to defend and they're trying to handle and be in control of the situation, which actually is in control of nobody. Now, here I would actually advise, my advice to all the men in general would be calm. Allow the things to change around you. Don't feel threatened, especially if you're confident about your work. The only thing probably you can do is, you can, forewarned is being forearmed. So when it's already been declared in all our, in the calendars that the solar eclipse is going to happen on the 1st of September, which means 10 days before. That means in the last week of August, you should be mentally prepared. When the eclipse is happening, you should be mentally prepared that these things are bound to happen, chaos is bound to happen, things are going to go not the way that you had envisaged. And you are very confident of your talents. Remain calm. Your mind may play games with you. You may want to be a little manipulative because you're trying to hold on to things, or you're trying to get in control of things. It's important for you to realize, don't do it. In fact, my advice to most of them, of course, at the world at large cannot be on holiday on those days, but I would say if you could take time off for 2-3 days, take a holiday, take a break by yourself and allow the things to calm down around you. Trust me, when you go back, probably you'll see everything with a new eye. And the way they say, there is always a lull before the storm and a lull after the storm. So let us settle down. And things will be conducive, and you could make the changes you've always wanted to make during the solar eclipse.
The lights.
Oh, sorry. There is a certain phenomena that is doing the rounds. It's on the internet also. It's on, when you go into the search engines and talk about the eclipses, they've given a very spiritual angle to it under the heading of spiritual eclipses, which says that men behave in a very demonic way. They behave in a very harsh way. They behave as if their eyes are dilated and they're completely angry and they're agitated, and people around them, especially the females around them, actually are surprised to know that why is the personality changing. So according to the spiritual astrology, it is that the ghosts are taking a lot of coverage in the universe, and there are demons, and there are these unnatural phenomena that are happening, and they enter into a man's body especially, making them behave much abnormally than their normal self. Actually, that is not the case. The only thing is that when the eclipses are happening, the energies of the planets or of the main planets, the sun or the moon or the earth, they are all not in synchronization, with the results that the energies in our body get a little imbalanced, and we tend to be shaken out of our comfort zone. And I'm sure you all out there would agree with me that whenever any individual is shaken out of his comfort zone, or things that are suddenly sprung on us, which we may feel that they are going to come, but we don't want to accept that they are going to happen. When they're shaken up and they come in front of us, we tend to immediately wake up and realize, hey guy, we need to take some action. We need to change our thoughts. So this imbalance of the energies in our body makes us behave in a very particular way. There's nothing known as ghosts coming in you. There's nothing known as the demons coming into you. It's basically the unnatural happening or the unexpected happening during this period. A little bit of forewarned and arming yourself will help you tide over these energies away, because they are a phenomena that don't happen once in a blue moon. They actually happen twice a year. So you should be mentally prepared.